All right, welcome to the good stuff, the big episode 42. We are back at the beach with returning guest.
Am I the first returning guest?
The first ever returning guest.
Yes, life goal achieved.
Top friend of the pod.
Oops.
That's it. Anthony, Deadman.
Hello, good to be back.
Welcome back.
There
Good
you
to be
go.
back.
It was so well received last time we had
Numbers were off the
a
charts.
session. They were off the charts. Like it was more than
There
4.
was 7
More, much more than 7.
My mum, my
No,
dad.
I think it was
my
alright.
brothers.
Like I think it was in the hundreds, multiple hundreds. I think.
Many requests for you
That
to
was good.
return.
Yep.
Most of them from me. But
So you're listening to Pete, looking for a new co-host.
that's it.
So I need to look at
That's
a
another
second
service
person.
offer.
Like, I don't care. I look at the sea. Andy looks.
I've got my
Yeah.
back to the beach.
Car
So
park,
that's,
so-
you know.
Pete and I've got the view of the beach,
Nice.
and he's just looking at.
Last
What are you on
time,
about? We're all by a campfire.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
We're all in a line. Last time you were here, you had 7 to 10 pages of notes. Are you equally
I only
prepared
have 4
today?
pages
You,
of notes.
I would just to get it in for the algorithm early is obviously we're going to do K-pop Demon Hunters. That's popular.
Yes.
And
Very cool.
Pokemon
Very good.
as a game. God, look at all these new
Didn't make much
listeners we've got
progress
all
on
of a
that.
sudden.
We did some design work. We fleshed it out on the paper a little bit,
Oh yeah.
but couldn't make much progress due to scheduling of children.
All right.
And,
Well, we'll probably send you
challenges
back and just continue the pod on.
I think we're going to go for do it this year. Do it this year. That's the goal.
it's a year-long thing.
And
not
do
a-
a few other projects in the interim.
You got to save the
Projects.
letdowns for later in the pod. When no
Oh,
one's
look,
listening.
I tried to guide it to be like sprite based and 2D,
Mm-hmm.
but she was adamant it had to be 3D and kind of look like whiz bang. And I started looking into I think you guys talked about Blender MCP and
Yes.
Unreal MCP.
Wow.
And I was looking into those and
Did
like,
you? Yeah.
I've used those tools before long ago. A lot of experience with Unreal 4 at least, but I was just like, I can't spend my whole holiday.
I'd say young girls do have quite high expectations of the graphics these days.
Yeah,
I've
so-
noticed this as well.
So
It's going to be
so we'll
Unreal
see.
Engine, Dad. Otherwise, what are we doing here? Like,
Yeah. I forgot we talked about
fucking zoomers.
Blender
they are.
MCP as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
That's
Those things are massive unlocks, I think,
Mm.
for creativity. Because Blender, as you know, is
yeah.
super complex,
Fantastic.
like very steep learning curve.
Gay
but
Very
hardcore
steep,
app,
yeah.
isn't it?
you can do wicked Blender, Grinder, and Blender.
Okay, I think that's right, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the 3D modeling tool.
Different
It's
app.
more your world than mine. I don't know.
Yeah. No comment.
We're never going to have another returning guest after this.
Yeah. I'm quitting on live now. But yeah, so those tools are really, as with a lot of things in the AI world, are lowering the barrier to just achieve anything. I feel like the surface area of building things is narrowing to creativity, imagination. You don't need the technical skills. You still need it at the moment. I think we're in this.
Yeah. I mean, I do think
intermediate
this is
phase,
like,
but-
it pulls out one of these things that you see on Twitter. They'll be like, I just used Blender MCP and I wrote this and it did everything for me and it works. And I look at it and go, I think you're lying. And then like someone like yourself who's very technical, is just like, I'm not going to just use this to try and generate this 3D game. It's going to take way too much time. And it's not that you can't do it, but it still takes quite a lot of time.
Still takes quite a lot of time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like in the same way that like if you're creating an app, like even if you are like leaning into the vibe coding approach, your first prompt will get a lot of the stuff done, and you'll be like, wow, this is so quick. I'll be through this in like 2 hours now because I've done so much in the first hour, and then you realize it's kind of like a diminishing returns, and it's quicker than just programming stuff yourself, but it's not free.
It's not
There's
free
still
yet,
a
but
lot
I
of
think
work
it's,
and understanding that needs to come.
I don't know. I'm into the hype, buying into the hype now. I think it's going to happen very fast, right? Like it's accelerating. The velocity is crazy of change at the moment.
So we had this analogy, I think it came up in the last pod, of like, I think the thing is that the reason it's not free is because somebody has to do the direction. And it is like driving a car. Where he said, like, if you were in London and you said, I want to go to Kent, you don't know whether it's going to go left or right because you haven't given it that direction. If it goes right, it's going to find Kent in England very quickly. If it goes left, it's very slowly going to find Kent in Ohio, which is still correct to your instructions. And so I think the reason that it still requires that person and that effort is because you can't tell the thing everything that it could know up front. It needs to be an iterative process. And that you need to guide it to where you're thinking, because what you're thinking and what you say are two very different things.
Yep, but a
And
lot of
then
people are
what you're
doing this,
thinking
right?
and the whole space of like human, like what it could build is massive.
But a lot of people are getting that kind of blank slate model, and they're talking to it and steering it in to the particular directions they want. And this is now in the training data, and this is now in the institutional knowledge of OpenAI and Anthropic. And with enough understanding of the person building something, I think that it's going to be a very low friction way to build anything.
Oh, yeah.
Not now.
Oh, yeah, I agree with
you
that.
know, in short order, I think it's 2026 is going to be crazy, but 2020 is going to be crazier.
So what is your thesis here? Like, just lay it out. What's going to happen?
Well, I think that for a long time the technical skills have been very, very important, and they're still important, but they're less so. And within the next few years, can't say how long, but very quickly the technical skills are going to be kind of non-existent or not necessary to achieve like a scalable. You can kind of build what you want. The imagination or the creativity is going to be important, and then eventually somewhere down the line that kind of won't be either. But
well, I mean, I think you sound like a friend of the pod. Like, it sounds like we talked for a long time about like what's left at the end of it all, and it was like it's the person that experiences the problem. It's just like somebody needs to like go, this game doesn't exist and it should.
Yep.
And guide the thing, or go, oh god, this is a bit of a rough edge on this process. Like, can
like
I fix
perfect?
that? Like,
some other people call it perfect software, or like perfect software for you, the individual, right? Like it's bespoke software for whoever wants to use it, build whatever you want, right, for your circumstances. I think that's going to be massively powerful. You don't have that cookie cutter, like we said, that Xero, they just do the thing that like covers a broader space, and they don't really care about your particular circumstances.
Exactly.
So you can do your circumstances and you can get what you need. And if you've got enough technical skill, you can do that right now.
Yeah.
Sometime in the future, you won't need that technical skill. You can just have a problem, and then that's all you need. The problem is basically
problem is all you need.
the problem is all you need.
Attention is all you need.
It's not about the solution. It's the problem. You need the problem, and then that's it. Like the solution will kind of like just fall on your lap.
So when you're talking about like the technical skill, you're talking about programming as a skill.
Programming, and even like not necessarily programming, but like you could be a technical person that's not a programmer, like a technical product manager or something.
Yeah.
Just to know enough about what's capable of the way things are done.
Yeah.
That's still massively valuable where we are now.
Yeah.
But I think that
I'd say that's almost the
enough
best
is gonna
situation right now.
I feel
You're a
so, yes.
highly technical product manager / technical architect type role.
It's not the McLaren though.
That's good at like example.
It's
Yeah, we've seen
it's
McLaren
my
F1,
Corvette.
we've got Corvette. Like,
Someone's
all
stealing my
self-driving.
Corvette. As Pete would say, the pod must go on.
The pod must go on, even though somebody's stealing the Corvette. We'll just have people knocking on doors.
Because what's interesting about this, I mean, we did an episode ages ago about the rise of the generalist, and I do still think that will be like a big beneficiary.
Yes.
I think one area where domain expertise is actually really important is like, there's like a lot of like very technical jobs that exist, not necessarily with computer programming, but the one I use all the time is like if you're like an energy markets operator or something like that, like
if we're
very
going
complex.
to HVAC operator.
Oh, that too. Could go with that.
HVAC.
Yeah. I've got to be trying to be consistent so I can turn this into a drinking game. But it's
Software engineering.
Yeah, there we go. Drink. But you know what I mean? Like those people have like very deep domain expertise in a particular area. They have access to tooling that maybe they haven't built. But all of a sudden, you've got now the ability to build bespoke tooling based on your domain expertise. And I think that's where a big unlock will start to emerge, because you've always had this like communication gap that exists between the people who have that deep technical ability and the people who need to build a tool for those people.
Yeah.
And a lot gets lost in translation.
Yeah, like I took one of my daughters, like a school dad kind of guy, Paul explained, but he's a geologist, right? And I was talking to him about like what I do, and he's like, I actually use AI. And I was like, all right, cool. So, use ChatGPT. And he's like, no, I actually use Cursor. And he uses Cursor to like help him build models or like understand. I was like, holy shit! Like I saw that coming, but like you're very early for your industry in using this. I was really surprised that he'd found Cursor. He was using like those tools. Like some people like can see it and they're like they've got that domain knowledge themselves and they can just use these tools to. They're getting exposure to it, and they're the ones that are going to be like the big winners.
I mean, shout out to the next two speedrun lights that are going to be running in February. The purpose of those workshops is really to give people that insight.
There we go.
Like directly in their hands to say, look, you can use these tools like this. This exists now, and it's not as hard as you think it is. And then you see the light switch on, and these people's brains like, an hour there already like copying software that they would spend like $50 a month on, and they're like, oh shit, I can just this just works, does it? And you're like, yep.
But this is one of the like real challenges pontificating on this stuff, is you just can't fathom all of the, which is we do like to do that on the pod, but it is very, because you just can't.
You definitely are a lawyer, aren't you?
Well, in a past life. No need to insult me on the pod.
Yeah, wow. We would never insult.
We would never. I mean, pontificate. That's a word you don't hear often.
Yeah. We'll have to turn that into another drinking game.
Yes.
But you know what I mean, like those, that's not a good word. Those particular use cases are just hard to conceive of. But most of the people who are talking about this stuff will be speaking about it through the lens of programming. And so we can't yet see all of the various ways this will manifest a bunch of different tools and solutions for people that just improve how they work or make their life better.
I think that's what like Claude Cowork is kind of like getting some friendlier exposure to different industries to see how the tools are going to be useful. So it's like let's help the user, but I think that's just a massive data collection exercise, like to build the next iteration, to build the next models, to train the next models, and build all the tooling around it. Like there's a whole talk about the scaling laws being dead, I guess. Like early last year, people said scaling laws are dead, so the model's not going to grow larger, but the ecosystem around it is going to build out, like the agents and the tool use and stuff. But recently, there's been a shift in the conversation back to like, well, we've only trained models with like 100 megawatts of electricity. Like those are the training ones we've done thus far. Max and TBJ, yeah. And I tend to agree, like that we will have more capable models. Like the next training runs are going to be gigawatt scale, and it's going to be massively expensive. But all this data that we've all been feeding these models is going to be just going to take this to the next level. It's going to encroach on all these other domains. Like that domain knowledge just kind of the walls are going to get smashed down.
So I think my prediction for this year was that we will probably get those models, but they won't be such a big leap. Most of the advancements come through the tooling, and like more like the I think this is what we really see under the hood in like a lot of the Claude models and OpenAI stuff, is they turn them more into agents. And as soon as you go away from like a call and response model has to get better for the response to get better model, and you just say, well, what if I just piecemeal this into a lot of little tasks that run much quicker? Like, I mean, who is it who bought Grok? Did that OpenAI or no? It was NVIDIA bought Grok chips, right?
Grok with a Q, yes.
Grok with a Q, yeah, because they're.
That was an acqui-hire. It wasn't like
a
full buyout of the company, but anyway.
But presumably, what they want is that inference chip architecture.
They want, the know-how to do that.
Yeah,
not necessarily.
Because the speed of those things,
else.
was like
crazy,
10x, like what you would
2,000
get from
tokens a second or something.
machines.
Crazy.
It was nuts. And it was like fantastic for just running like smaller queries and doing it 20 times.
That's what I think. One of the big unlocks that will happen this year with the new models is that the tokens required to achieve something will have drastically reduced because there's so much knowledge gained from these disparate domains. So you'll be able to achieve more of what you want much faster. There'll be much faster time to result, less like working through the steps. As you see the model, like working through it logically, it'll be able to jump much better through the steps.
It is interesting though that you can see just on something that runs faster. Like you could take the same model, ask it a question on a slow version, a question on a quick version. On the quick one, you can then do all this extra work to get the answer better, and it looks more intelligent, but it just happens to be faster.
This is where I didn't know about this, but last time on the pod you were talking about the game interfaces. I was like, oh fuck, that is awesome. That is like the RTS style resource management. When you have these really fast agents, like all these StarCraft players are going to become like 400 APM or something. They're going to be awesome at prompting agents.
I think part of what started that conversation was like, what's the user interface for this stuff, right? And it feels like quite native for people our age, because we all kind of grew up with these kinds of games. You're kind of like brought up on resource allocation and like allocating tasks to different AIs and stuff. Like it's cool. I think people are coming up with.
I'm playing with you. I really want to play with next month.
Some of them are just like like a bit pointless.
They're
as
kind of
well.
like visualizations
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
what's going on.
Like, oh, you can see this worker doing this thing.
So they're not there yet, but I do think it's like an interesting medium for.
I mean, we've been thinking about it
Orchestrating
a
and
lot
stuff.
because, like, you know, I work in Wingman all the time, and I like what it does for me, but it's still like I think I was saying in the last couple of pods. Like, my problem at the moment is I can get confused because at the moment I find yes,
And
Yeah.
I've
emphatically
done it.
everybody emphatically agreeing. Yes, this
plenty of
seems like a
times.
confused man.
This is on brand.
Oh, because you've also got confused. Okay, I thought you were just saying that I am.
No, I've also got confused about what's going on in that.
Because generally I'm running like 2 or 3 projects. Like I built
Yeah.
a sovereign sync thing over the weekend on the side of the project that I was actually doing. It was way more popular this one, so I like to lean into it. But like it's what am I doing? Like at any point in time, like there'll be like 3 or 4 different projects that are all going. They're all at different points. They all need my interaction to then test and direct the next steps, and it's just hard to keep track of.
Yeah.
Because there's too much has changed
That's-
in
I
too
think
short a
you-
time. I'm like,
100%.
fuck me, I'm the wrong. I, as a flashback,
Yes.
can't deal with
I've-
the speed at
My
which this is
solution for that
happening.
is just focus on one project.
One thing
and
at a
then,
time. Yeah.
then you can spin up multiple agents and
Yeah.
get them to do different things. But as soon as you try and
But
you're like,
even
it's
then,
like,
though,
oh,
I'll be
I really
like-
should do more
But
projects.
this work tree is
Can't do it.
completely refactoring everything that this
Yeah,
guy's working on, and I'm like, so.
But this is why, like, Age of Empires might actually be the right interface, because you've got like many little
Yeah,
dudes
I-
running around doing tasks,
Exactly.
and you've got a group of miners over here who are like pulling out all the gold out of the ground, another one's chopping down all the lumber over there, and you've got a group of builders over here.
Yeah.
And so maybe that is like just the right
I mean,
interface
yeah,
for it.
I think it becomes like people run complex things, right? You know, Tim Apple runs Apple, and he's gonna have to shout out to the TFTC listeners there. Yeah, so you know, Tim Apple runs Apple, and he's got to manage that as a complex thing. And what he has is a bunch of like management methodologies and systems and tools that he uses to do it. And the humans run around and do very complex things, and he's just aware of vaguely what's happening at some level.
Yep.
And like, I think we're just going to start working back up that stack where like you as a person might have a company of 10,000 agents that are
Yeah.
all working for you.
So the real winners in the new world order are again going to be the CEOs, because they can
Well, it's the generalist type.
multitask much better than us mere mortals. And
Maybe. Well, I mean, like the question is, are you the CEO, or is there an agent that's the CEO that then asks you like what it should be working on?
It is interesting, isn't it? Because like if you like rewind a few years, like everyone was calling the death of the manager class. You know, like that function was done.
That's true. Yeah.
And now it's like, oh, hang on a minute. If you've got management skill, maybe you'd be like
You have
quite
half
useful.
an idea
here.
about kind of everything. Then
Yeah.
that's the power. Yeah.
Well, I think it's probably going to be like the T shape,
Yeah.
where you can go broad across everything, but then you can drill down
go
when you
deep.
need to.
Yeah.
Because you need to, and like that would be like a classic Steve Jobs type character, right? Where you would then go, okay, well, I'm just going to be across everything. I see what's going on. Right, something's gone wrong in here. I need to go down on that bit. Why is that breaking everything? What's going on? And then you go and unstick that, and then it carries on. I can see that being very useful.
The thing about a
skill
T
set.
is like there's implied constraint on it, and I almost think like you can just choose where to go a little bit with AI as well. Like if you like say the T, I agree with you. That's the natural shape
Yeah.
here, but like it's the depth of the kind of the vertical part of the T. It's like how deep can you go? And even if you do have quite a lot of skill, you can actually just go like 5x, 10x further with AI to build parts of the knowledge base you don't have, or part of the skill set you don't have.
Yeah.
And I think that's the real unlock here. Is you can go wider and you can go deeper. It's like where does this cap out?
Yeah, because when you go deep, you do it with the AI as your
Yep.
your helper. Like it's just, it's I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I
Nice.
mean, I had an interesting situation over the weekend, whereas I built this thing called SovThing, which is like SyncThing but using Nostr as an ID layer, which just makes the whole setup and everything about it much better, in my view,
Yes.
for various reasons. But one of the things that I had as I was trying to integrate, so I'm now a Rust dev.
Yep.
So congratulations,
Add that to
me.
the list. Add that to the
Just
CV.
I haven't actually looked at any of the code, but you know.
yeah.
But I wanted to integrate this package called IRO, which does direct peer-to-peer networking, and it was such a ball ache to get running, and like just the experience of building something like low level in Rust that then I have to keep recompiling and deploying, and because it was connections, it was across multiple machines. I was like, oh, this is such a pain.
I remember using that tool to play like RTS games on like a peer-to-peer network.
Yeah, nice.
And you join the Hero Hero network, and then playing like just your random friend because you basically
because you go direct.
Yeah, and no, this is old tech.
This is good. They're good. Yeah,
I mean,
this
it's been
sort
around
of
for a
stuff
long
has been
time.
around for a long time.
Yeah.
It's just like different mechanisms for how you do the announcements and discovery. And turns out Nostr is brilliant for this because I can just publish a kind just encrypted to myself that just says I am here and I am on exactly this contact details, and then you just connect directly to me.
Yeah.
And then we do everything else peer to peer. But but getting this working was like a pain, and like again, like the AI was just continually trying to rebuild this massive app. And it was just like, look, this is silly. Like, I'm getting sick of just redeploying this like 1,000 times. I want you to start from scratch in a separate folder over here called test client. I want you to write the minimal amount that you need to get it to work, and then we're going to test that. I want you to make it a CLI so you can test it. And I want you to be able to spin up 2 processors and then go via the IRO network to talk to the other process. And it was like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. It's like, okay. And it did that in like 5 minutes, and once we had that test client working, then I could get that deployed over multiple machines, check that it was working correctly. I was like, okay, now we have the working code. Now go and strip out everything you just fucking done for the last like 6 hours and rebuild it based on this pattern. And it's like, okay.
So was this like with this just SovThing in general? What was the problem with SyncThing?
So I've always had
because this is like the whole
it
what we
feels
talked about.
like
This is a
there's
problem. You've got a problem, and you're like
it
chasing
sort
the
of
problem.
feels like there's not, like in the when I look at SyncThing, it looks like it does everything that I need, but with a few different problems that are involved in how it's been built. Is that it's got like its discovery of other versions of you is really bad because you've got to share like unique cryptographic keys across multiple different devices to get that to work. Like you don't have an identity you can bring to SyncThing to get it to work.
Right.
So the first step is that I just log in with an npub that's the same on all these devices, and it instantly finds every other version of my device that's out there because they all announce themselves on Nostr in an encrypted fashion that only I can see. So that's step number 1. Is the onboarding is way better. The second one is
SyncThing does that, but it does it by SyncThing being in the middle.
It does it with SyncThing in the middle, so we don't have that
Yep.
in SovThing. So there's no central server for that. We just use the relays.
Yes.
But also SyncThing does it because then you have to go into your. Now you've got the problem where. Bear in mind that at the point that you set this up, you don't have something that's syncing files between your computers, right? And so you've got to share a cryptographic key across all those different computers. So say on the day, so you got a daylight computer earlier, right?
Yep.
It's got no camera on it.
Yep.
Makes it very hard. You can't share a
Yes, I found that to be a little bit annoying,
Yeah.
but anyway.
So it's just like the UI is set up. It's just difficult on SyncThing. I also found that it doesn't always trigger correctly. So it's very good for like you go and get the file from over here via some sort of peer-to-peer or tailscale or direct over the network, whatever it is. So we copy the same thing. We do the same thing. We go and get the file when it's there. How do you know that it's there? Well, it's very hard. So it's quite easy with Nostr because I can just again publish an event. It's encrypted to myself that says, "Oh hey guys, I've got a new file. This is the file hash."
Yep.
And you go, "Oh, I don't have that. I'll update it." Bang, and you just go and get that file. And it makes it really easy to like communicate between these things. It's as though you get free push notifications at like a really low level because you just subscribe to your Nostr feed.
Free push notifications that are fully private and encrypted.
Yeah.
And that's
It's
like
amazing.
we shouldn't discount that.
No, it's amazing.
because
That's
that is awesome.
Yeah. And
Like-
someone was asking me like, "Oh, is this like? Oh, this sounds like it's bad though because you're going to leak all your files." I was like, "No, there's like nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing goes on Nostr. Yeah. Like no file transfer goes through Nostr. If they're on your local network, we don't deliberately encrypt it on the local network because it's just sat on your local network open anyway. If it goes via Tailscale or IRO, it's all packages are encrypted by default.
Yep.
So again, everything is encrypted, but again, nothing is stored anywhere. It's like it's all peer to peer. It's like it's pretty. Like I've been using it and just like, you just you're like, oh, I need to move this command that I want to write into that terminal over there, and I just drop it into a text and it just pops up on the other machine. About
Right,
sweet,
yeah.
like in milliseconds.
And most people want to use GUIs. They want to like have that
Yep.
native like Windows Explorer, whatever, find interaction. They don't want to be SCPing or async
So-
or whatever. Like
But this, yeah, exactly. SCPs are such a fucking pain. And then the next thing I was looking at was like, all right, so because we've got IRO, I can do peer to peer, and as you said a moment ago with gaming, you can do it to anybody. And I also have a social graph. and so I know who all my followers are.
Yep.
So now I can do things like say, all right, well, let's create say I want to send something to you and I know your npub. I just say, right, I'm going to share this folder with Anthony, and I assign it to your npub.
Yep.
And then what it will do is it will create an encrypted version of how to contact me, sign that as a Nostr event, and then it just pops up on your SovThing. It says, oh, Pete's just shared this folder with you. You click OK, it connects our two computers, and then you just pulls it directly into your computer. And then we can sync state from there.
Yep, so
Like,
if you're a
you
VC
now have-
listening, Pete's seeking
Series A.
Series A.
We've
We're gonna
YOLO'd
go
it
straight
out
to
there,
Series
so we're
A.
going to go straight to Series C. I reckon this is a big one.
Just
But
IPO. Why are we wasting time?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, we're going public. The roadshow. Oh, hang on a minute. This is not financial advice.
Yeah.
Disclaimers. Some financial
Got a
stuff.
lawyer though, right?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, exactly. This is the public roadshow. But it's pretty amazing. So now you've got AirDrop to anyone, anywhere in the world.
Yeah,
fully
that
private.
is awesome.
No constraints on network.
Yeah.
Full hole punching.
Oh,
If
even
you're
just
both online,
having
you
to
can just
deal
hole
with
punch.
shit like you send an email, it's like the file is too big or something, and you're like, fuck, I have to put it in
Put in Google
OneDrive or
now.
whatever,
Yeah,
Google Drive, and like that's
Do you
just
know the worst
pain
thing
in
is?
the
Like,
arse,
I reckon 95% of my use cases for this are just like Signal notes to self.
Yeah.
yeah.
Mostly, yeah. Because I'll have Signal on my phone and I'll have Signal on my MacBook and drop
I do
down
this
notes to
all
self.
Actually, I've done that.
That's how I
heaps as
move
well.
images to myself.
Yeah.
It's so straighthtroughard. Because I've also got this problem where, like, when Pete mentioned it, I was like, oh god, this is so good.
But I don't.
Because I've got the
I don't
MacBook
think
and
this
I've got an
replaces that
Android.
use case. You'd still probably use.
I probably
Signal
still
for
would, yeah.
that.
You
But
might
for like beefier files or more files,
Or
and
to
Yeah,
stuff
somebody
like
else. Or to,
that. Yeah,
Because there's this, I can send code, I can send executables. It doesn't care. It'll just move the file if you ask for it. But I mean, one of the things, the problems I have with Signal is that, like, yeah, I have Signal on my laptop. I've got it on my phone. I can use it for those two. I don't have it on my Daylight because there's no reason for it on there. And it'd be a bit of a pain. And I don't have it on my Mac Mini because that's Wingman's computer, and I don't want it to have access to my Signal
Yep.
folder.
Yeah.
That would be bad. But all of them I can log in with a common npub and just share stuff very easily. Or I can then make that Wingman's npub and I share explicitly to Wingman in the folder.
So that's what you've built. What have you built?
That was
recently?
that was
What's
my,
your problem?
That was my side project
That's
that I built while I was building my real project.
The side project took off, though.
It did take
Yeah.
over a bit. It took a lot of debugging to get
Product market fit.
get to the Rust thing. Yeah, it went like people on Nostr liked it. People on
Yeah.
Nostr are the right sort of people that like SyncThing and would prefer it to be Nostr-based, I think. So I will lean into it and get it a bit more pro. That's why I did try this wholesale. So wholesale is the equivalent of IRO, but based on the hole punch stack. If you know it from Keep and all that sort of gubbins. But because it's all NPM based, like I couldn't package it into Bun. I couldn't package it into like a simple app that I could deploy onto the MacBook. It was gonna need like installation from the terminal, and I was like, no, we're not doing that. Whereas if I moved to Rust, then I could just package the whole thing as like a Tory app and just squirt it straight on there.
Yeah.
So Rust and Bun. I'm such a hipster. With my-
Just add this into your T-shaped set of skills.
Well, I've been considering maybe I should be using Rust more because I want to be cool with a certain subset.
I mean, a lot of the
the
Bitcoin
economy.
ecosystem, other than
Is
core and
Rust
stuff,
now.
is Rust now, and like I think that Maple AI is like a sleeping giant, like in the privacy AI space.
Yeah.
And they use Rust and they use Tory and Bun, so like
Yeah.
you're well aligned with their tech stack.
Well, I mean, Bun is practically Zig, right? Come on,
Bun is
it's-
practically Anthropic because they bought it. So.
Yeah, true.
But sorry, Andy, what have you been building recently? What's your problem that you've been itching?
Speaking of Nostr, so because I've mentioned Opticon last week, which is our like visual planning tool.
Oh, is this
yeah, it's like a Miro replacement. We're going to
Miro,
build this
but not
into
fucking annoying, and it stops
Yes.
you only using 500 characters for a text
That's
note
true.
and shit.
Endless amounts of text. That was Pete's like main
That's
bugbear.
the main
It's
thing
like,
that pissed me off.
don't care, but it's got to have endless
It's
amount
funny
of
how
text.
there's a tool which is generally pretty good, and there's like one or two things.
Yeah, it's
Fuck
true.
those things. I'm going to build my thing.
Exactly. But it's working quite well. It's also a Nostr app.
Yeah.
So all the ID state is done with Nostr. But one of the things I've been working on the last couple of days is the screen collaboration part, so that all of us could be on the same board. And it's got the cursor move aspect to it as well. So
Yep.
like the thing that wasn't really quite working initially was things would happen, like things would just appear on the screen as like it, you know, like if
There's
I
no
was on one
fluidity
device.
between-
Yeah. Whereas now I've got the mouse cursor linked to the Nostr ID, so I can see what Pete's doing on the screen as I'm doing it as well. So that's kind of cool.
Nice.
So it's like a little bit more collaborative, because otherwise it's just like you could be on like two different parts of the canvas, and just it's not particularly collaborative in that respect. So we're going to be plugging that in to marginal gains. It's going to be Wingman friendly. So now I can like export a board as JSON as well, so we can give that to Wingman, and then it can then go and suggest a bunch of tasks and additions to the board as well as we go. It can build on the board with us as we're going.
Because everything's linked to your Nostr ID, we can use NIP98 authentication to allow ourselves to make updates to the board.
Yep.
We can encrypt everything, so we can have some, there's a lot of interesting stuff. I think once you have a common ID across all of these platforms, you can make really nicely integrated experiences without really having to worry about it too much. I mean, just the fact that you could sign like a NIP98 token and just give that to an agent, and now the agent can go read all the data in this database. Like you don't have to like worry about
it's
the
like
API
a
integration and stuff.
authentication
It's not
primitive that's like, you know, you can log in with Google and Apple and Microsoft with
You don't
everything,
have to
right?
Copy a fucking API key from system to system because they both know that you're that person.
Yeah.
And then they know that the only way that this token could exist is if you signed it. And so all of a sudden there's no copying API keys. It's just like in this system you say work with this system. Like you could even say like here's the URL of this system. It doesn't even know about it. Because I want you to see if you can connect to this using NIP98, and it says boom. You have like maybe you have like a convention for how you would announce that you're NIP98 compatible and bang, all of a sudden you've got access to everything that's in that database that's exposed by an endpoint. Go read the endpoint, then the agent can go in, read the endpoint, figure out what it wants to do, and then go and start acting on your behalf because it's got the token that allows it to do it. And you didn't have to do any integration between the two systems.
Yeah. And I think that the encryption piece is important because every update, every piece of integration can be encrypted. So then there's no you get to choose more about what you share. You can be more deliberate about what you're sharing with anything.
Yeah.
Because like in the Google world or those open auth worlds, like you don't really like know what's going on. Like by default everything's getting shared and hoovered up and like. Yeah,
and at a minimum, they've got a key that unlocks it. They can see everything.
They've got a key, right?
Everything that you put in there, they can see it all.
Yes. Well, it's worse than that, isn't it? Because aren't they just essentially monetizing that?
Yeah.
Your user data?
They
so they
can see it all, and they're selling it, and they gave it to the government, and they gave it to the mafia.
Yeah.
Like, whether they wanted to or not, they've just come in and stolen it.
Well, that's it, right?
Like,
I mean,
those things
in many cases, they're like actually subsidizing the cost of these tools because they're able to go and like sell your data.
Yeah.
So,
but ideally would have an option where you can pay for a service, and the service can't see anything.
You know what we could call this? So that was the actual project I was building on the side. I got a thing that I've been working on called SuperBased. So SuperBased, we know SuperBase. SuperBase is the Postgres cloud service. But it's a cloud service where, again, they'll be able to see everything that's in their database. They run like Postgres databases on your behalf, and you use it as a backend. SuperBased is that, but based. So it's all Nostr. So it's Nostr-based identities. It's Nostr-based like workspaces and app IDs and everything that goes into that. And then, so you can go in and create a database for your app in SuperBased. Now, SuperBased only exists as a kind of like context VM endpoint and service. So you address it via Nostr, you talk to it via Nostr, so the thing can live anywhere in the world.
Yep.
Could be on your computer, it could be in a data center, both will work just as easily. So it's made to be self-hosted and bring copies back as well. You create a little database in there, you give it a key, you then export a token and you stick it in your app, and now your app has a back end that it can talk to. That could be anywhere, and you can move that back end. So you could go copy all that data back onto a local machine at home, and then turn that one off and just go to your local version if you wanted to. So you're not stuck into anywhere. It's natively.
So and then SuperBased sees the database, sees all that stuff, but where the database is, the environment it's around.
So the first like test app that I built for this was like a little to-do app. So we use this in some of our like workshops and things that we do, and I like, so that's like a nice way of like getting into it. So what this is like a little like JavaScript, like TypeScript app. It runs everything with like Dexy as like a local interface into the IndexedDB, and so all of your information only ever lives locally in that IndexedDB. By standard. So you can create all your to-dos and whatnot. It writes them into there, and everything is encrypted, like NIP44 encrypted to your key. So the only time that data exists unencrypted is like in your browser session when you're looking at it. Other than that, it's always encrypted. And then you can click the menu, you click SuperBased, you paste the token, and it just syncs the encrypted data into SuperBased. And then it announces on Nostr, oh hey, I've just updated SuperBased. And then anybody else that's following that app ID in your npub, which is you logged in somewhere else, they can come along, and then on your phone goes, oh, there's been an update. Reads it sees that there's been an update from Nostr, and then goes and gets it from SuperBased. So now you have like real-time sync between two apps that only ever store encrypted information locally, just passed via SuperBased as like a source of truth, so we can know what the latest state is on that.
What about, for example, if you had you want a to-do list that you wanted to share with someone else?
So this is interesting, because one of the things we do with the to-do lists in our Touch Don't Look Now speedrun light sessions is that we have an agent look at all of the to-do lists on your behalf. It'll create plans, summaries, and whatnot. It can plan out tasks for you and add them in there. And like that's kind of nice because you can see how you can use that in a business. And this morning I was like, oh fuck, I've just broken all of that. If I wanted to use this SuperBased model, I can't because it's encrypted to me. So, like over Christmas, I made Marginal Gains or Agora as like a kind of Discord style way of doing this. And the way I handled the encryption there was I said, look, if something's private to a group, then we have a group key, and we use that group key to then manage the encryption. So instead of encrypting it to multiple different people, I can say it's encrypted to this group, and here's the group key, and we all have a copy of the group key, so we can decrypt stuff. So what we do instead is for sharing to-dos, or if you wanted to say give an agent access to it, I say like, okay, for this npub, which is the agent, so I can look, and when I say this npub, I'm not dealing with npubs. I look up who I'm following the agent, and I say for Wingman, and then there he is, and I just use that npub. And I assign a task to this guy and say, okay, he can see this one. And then when we write that encrypted blob, we encrypt it to myself, and we encrypt it to the, so in the same record, you've basically got like my encrypted blob, and then then a group encrypted blob. And then we can announce on Nostr,
it's like
there's a group.
Okay.
If you're in the group, you can get access to the key. So Wingman can see it's running like just as a headless service on a different computer, and it comes in and says like, I've been added to a group. So it goes to SuperBased and gets the key. So again, the key is encrypted NIP44 to Wingman in SuperBased. Now nobody else can access that,
people
and it's not.
People in the audio aren't going to be following this, but
it's already exactly. It's also like the announcement is on Nostr, but none of the data is on Nostr. So you care about quantum computing and made up things like this that don't exist, right? And so, tell me when you can factor a number. That's not 21.
15.
15. We've got 15, guys. We've got 15. I could factor 15. Come on. Like it's just. So then Wingman can go along, get the key, but the key's never there. So again, from like a privacy point of view, it's easier if the data's not there, and you don't publicly share it. But it can go and get it because it knows where to go because it's got a SuperBased token.
Is that a model that's going to work for? It will work for some applications, but there's still others where the database is perhaps too large and it still needs to be centralized, but you still want to have notifications that something's happening, but then effectively the client pulls data from the database and can render it locally or present it locally, but the main data store is like encrypted. I mean, service provider can't see it.
I see this version that I built so far is like the encrypted sync service, where you would use it for like records. You've not got tons of them. Like you're not doing complex database. If you're doing anything complex in the database, you probably actually do want to run the database properly. You can run. You don't have to store encrypted stuff in SuperBased. You can store it natively, and then you've got access to a Postgres database, so you can run whatever you would do normally in there. And then it's a question of, well, how do you connect to that? Well, you could connect. Again, the key is you want it to be portable. So yes, you can connect via like Context VM, and you can do it like one at a time, and we're passing all the data over Nostr. Or you just use Context VM to find the thing, and then you IRO into it. And you've got a direct pub sub, like very low latency peer-to-peer connection, which is probably quicker than using SuperBased as an API, which is what like, most of these things do anyway. So, bish bash bosh.
'Cause
Solved. We've just take that, SuperBased. I think it's exciting.
It is. I'm glad that we teed up because my problem is that I've been scratching on is like a life organizer. So, for example, like I have a shared Google Calendar with my wife. Put things in there. I've got like I used to use something called OmniFocus, which is like a to-do app. That's
yes, I've seen this at some point.
Like getting things done sort of philosophy to-do app, but it had really shit sharing permissions. I also used to use something called Banktivity, which is like financial management and like bills and things. So there was always problems with each of these things, right? Streaks for habits, like cool, like this is great, but again, I'm just leaking all this like private information, whatever. So I've been pulling all these things together into a single app with different views, just to
this is what you're building on top of Amulando.
Well, that's where as soon as I saw Amulando, I was like, how about I just build all these things in one? Like, I only want one interface to deal with. Everything's there. It's presented when I want it. But I don't want to have to use this app, this app, this app, this app, this app, leaking data all over the place. I want to control it. I want to, but I also want to be able to share information where I want and have this like group sharing or like fine-grained sharing controls. That side of things, the hard part is building the app is the easy part. I've been doing this for a few days, like after hours, but like I just see there's massive potential here for sovereignty of data, sovereignty of information, and having that like level of control you just can't get with all these existing services.
This is what I like the SuperBased thing as well, is then because like the app integration, it just uses it as like a backend sort of thing, and if you just change that token, it's got a different backend. But you like one thing I was thinking is okay, well, what I would do is I would have my SuperBased would sit in a data center somewhere. You know, I know some people that run quite sovereign data centers would be good for this sort of stuff. It's encrypted anyway, so I don't need to worry about it too much. But I could also have another client, which is my SuperBased sync client. And the SuperBased sync, what it does is it says, okay, I've got a local SuperBased here, and I've got a remote SuperBased over here. And my job is just every hour I log in, get all the records that I don't have from the data center one, and sync them to the local one. And as soon as that goes down, you've got a live backup here, and you just switch the key. And you say, look, if you can't connect to this one, this is your backup key, and the app can just switch. And the apps are all stateless, so you could run the app on your machine. You could run it on GitHub Pages, and just save it locally. We can bundle it as, just a little app to your computer. It's kind of nuts what you can do once you have the keys. And then you could. The only bit that I've been umming and ahhing at is that there's a little bit of me that's like, well, why am I using Postgres? Why not just pass this stuff as a relay? But then I have this like thing. I feel like relays should be there to relay, and the more we try and rely on
for data storage,
the more we try and rely on them for data storage, I think is bad.
Yes.
I also think there's a lot of stuff that even if it's encrypted, I don't really want to put it on a relay. I want to put it on like my database that I know I can delete and that I know is not relayed. Whereas as soon as it hits a relay, you kind of have to assume that it's going to be there forever. It is like publishing it to the internet. So it's got that weird duality problem where it's like on the one hand, if I publish anything to this relay, I need to assume that it will be there forever. And that therefore I need to think about the encryption and like, is somebody going to come along with a quantum computer and hack this at some point in the future? Are they going to be, as the NSA, just taking all of this and hoovering it up and putting it away in a day? Probably. Like it's just one of those. But then at the same time, I can't rely on the relay to be there in terms of back end for the app when I need it. And if I publish across multiple relays, now I've got the reconciliation problem of like, where's my latest state? Whereas I think that's the role of something like SuperBased, is like you actually want a really clean state. So there's a master state, and it's just that you can define which one it is, and you can make it local if you want, and you can have it synced to local, basically in real time, so that you can't be rugged. So it's unruggable database infrastructure, publicly accessible and impossible to stop. Boom!
Imagine, even a few years ago, we've talked about all these different tools that we've like each built.
I'm just going to have to make them all.
And then, 2 years ago, we'd have talked about one tool, and we'd have the same. We've talked about the same tool for three months. Or
for longer.
12 episodes or something. And then, I've got a new idea about something.
There's another one that you might like for if you wanted to onboard your family situation. So we've had this problem. So all the tools we build for other stuff are Nostr-based. because it allows us to like create these almost like magical experiences where there's no like you're the same person everywhere. There's no login keys. There's no like passwords that you need to remember. Really, well, there's one because we have to make it for Normies. But we can orchestrate stuff on your behalf. Everything's encrypted. But to do that, you need a fucking key. There's just no nice way of giving a key to my mum. If you know what I mean.
This is where I'm at the moment. How do I give my wife a key? I've been playing with this myself, and I need my wife.
So I might have something.
She hasn't got Nostr or anything.
So what I've built in is we built this welcome app for other stuff. And so what you can do is you can onboard people into this with just a normal username and password. And they log in the username and password. And as they do this, we're creating a key in the background for them inside their own browser session. You know, that key is only ever leaves that as an encrypt sec to the password that you do. And you don't have to back up this way if you want, but you can back up everybody's encrypt sec to their password with, there's a particular algorithm you use that makes it like, you know, it'd be like a year to brute force. You could probably brute force it if you really had to, but it'd be a very long, drawn out thing. So it's not perfect. But you can keep it in a way that you can't see the key. And then they access that via username and password, and then when they put their username and password in, they pull the encrypt sec and then decrypt it locally. Now you've got a key that they can use to sign stuff. So I was like, oh cool, that's a way of giving somebody a key that kind of works. That could also be locally stored instead of it being on the server. But then if you do it on the server, you can pull it from your mobile, from your thing. You always go to welcome. It gives you the thing. So okay, that's cool. Now we've got everyone a key. But they just copy and paste that key into everything. That's not ideal. So then I built this protocol called key teleport. So it's like, okay, well, it's interesting. They can do key teleport in cold cards from like one to the other, and they do it by sharing some information offline. So can we do something similar? So again, what we do is so if you've got like two apps that will do key teleport, so Welcome is like a source key teleport, and then all of our other stuff apps are now key teleport enabled. And so what I do is I click the link that says go to Wingman, and we key teleport into Wingman, and it opens up. Boom. Well, what happens is it says, do you want to share your identity with Wingman? And I click a button. When I click that button, it opens Wingman and it copies an nsec, an ephemeral nsec to my clipboard. This is like a one-time use ephemeral nsec. I go push it into Wingman, and it uses that to decrypt a package that I sent to it over Nostr relays. And so it will read that package from Nostr, pull this up, and go, actually no, it's not. It doesn't go over Nostr relays. Sorry, it's an old idea that I had. We actually send it in the fragment inside the URL string.
Yeah, okay.
So instead of a literal, we use a fragment so that it's not recorded on the servers, but it has basically an encrypted blob, which is like a NIP44 gift wrap to yourself that this nsec can then unwrap and see what's going on, and then it pulls the key out.
So people still need to have like a password manager or something to store that initial key?
I'd say use a password manager for that, but that's normie infrastructure.
That's what you have to do anyway.
Yeah.
And then,
I mean, I could make that Google authenticate, I'm sure,
right.
but I won't. I won't, but you could. But even that, like they could be a throw. It doesn't have to be a real email address. Like, I'm not emailing you kind of thing. You
I wonder
just need a password.
when normal people are going to care about stuff like this, like not keys necessarily, but like the benefit that a different way of doing things, more private, more sovereign, like are people going to appreciate why this is important, or like are they just going to be, oh, ChatGPT now lets me upload all my health data, so YOLO, fuck it. Yeah. Here's all my blood tests.
I don't know. I feel like at times I could probably get quite critical and down on people for just uploading all of their blood work to ChatGPT.
Oh, I mean, I get it, but
I don't know. I think you can. I honestly think we can make better experiences based on keys, and then it'll this like type of like key teleport, because you could also key teleport into a browser extension as well. So then you can load your key into a browser extension without ever copying and pasting it on your clipboard, which is better.
I almost think like the way to approach this is like anything technical, it's always like a user experience. You know, like if you try to talk to people about keys, you're going to lose them because they don't care.
I mean, we've lost everyone already.
Pretty well, you know. But it is interesting to dive into, right? But
I think our audience is creaming themselves.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Well, it's generally
they
just
get
us
lost by
listening
stuff
back.
Like that.
you know what I mean? Like I often feel like that's kind of like a layer that's missing sometimes, especially with Nostr. It's like you haven't yet got a bunch of like really design-oriented people that have gone, yeah, let me just like sit with this.
Well, and even that welcome site, right? This is a real business problem for us. It's like I need to get normie businesses, like in
Exactly.
at the moment it's not too many, but like let's say we've got like 30 a month that we need to onboard into Nostr, and it's like what do I tell them to do? Like, where do I send them? What's the extension? Right? Does that work on my phone as well? No. Fuck. Like I need to give you one instruction. It needs to work on your phone. It needs to work on an Android. It needs to work on an iPhone. It needs to work in your browser. It needs to work on every computer you own.
Yeah.
And I didn't have another way of doing it. And I was like, right, well, I could build one. So we built it.
I think these are very important primitives for the future. Like,
and it'll get better. Like somebody else will go, oh, you can do that, but like this.
But to your question as well, like I do think that like ease of use and convenience will always just trump like basically anything else in the moment. I think people have a legitimate concern about privacy. It's like companies, right? They all like write policies around data privacy, but then they just defer to big tech on everything. So
it's like policy, like just nonsense, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's like theatre. Policy
it's
theatre.
policy theatre.
It's
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It's just like, oh yeah,
There's a lot of
we've got a
this
policy that says we can't be hacked. So yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah.
Like why not just encrypt everything so it's never available to anybody?
Yeah.
Oh no, it sounds too hard. It's like, well, I have people build their own custom to do apps like in half an hour that do this. Because we just put it in at the base layer.
But also, like a lot of the time, you'll like defer to like an IT department, or like maybe it'll be like external IT, right? And then they have a vested interest in like their own setup because that's how sticky the business model is for them. So, but I think ultimately, like if you can just make it easy, then it won't matter.
Easy and cheap.
Yeah.
And I think that's how we win. Is I actually do think it's going to be a better user experience.
Yeah.
Once you get the key, you
I agree.
You never have to log into anything.
Like single identity.
Everything is interoperable.
You could have all of your own disparate data coming in, and then that's like a really powerful thing. Things are too silent at the moment. Go back to like Streaks has incentive to keep people in their ecosystem and not necessarily integrate with any other ecosystem. They do their thing, but that's a silo of data. Yeah. With this like single identity that you can take across a lot of things, I agree. That's where you get potentially massive unlocks. Tie in some private AI like Maple or something. It's like fuck.
Yeah, and then because we've got a key, you know what we're encrypting to.
Exactly.
So you can then now read that data over here. We can sync it via SuperBased.
Yep.
Bish bash bosh. This is all like core infrastructure that you could imagine that it's just not existed. And like, as I said, like I feel like I'm having to like my approach to these things is make a version that works that might be a tad sketchy, and then have somebody else like Jesus or Hazard come along and make it properly so that it's secure. But you've got to nerd snipe these people into doing it for you. It's like, look guys, this is the best, this is what it's going to be unless you step in. Like, all right, I need to come in and fix this. We can't have Pete making this stuff. Yeah. No, you can actually. I'm actually all right.
Yeah.
But it's like I've been surprised like how well we've managed to hide Nostr from a bunch of just local SMEs in Perth. These are not Nostr users. They don't know they're using Nostr. They don't understand that they have access to this stuff. Like with BitChat, you don't need to know. But it allows us to do magic on your behalf if you have that key. And so it's going to have to get built. But I think it will be a better experience long term. And it's going to be one of those things where security-wise, there's going to be more hacks. The only way around, and there's going to be a lot more deep fakes, and the way around both of those things, which are both going to get driven by AI, is public-private key.
Absolutely.
Like the AI can't fake you signing a message. Yep. You don't know what, if you're like a normie guy, if you're in business or whatever, you don't know what that means. It's fine. But we already have solutions for all this stuff. We just don't actively embed it in stuff at a low enough layer that it's available. We do everything by just assuming that Google is acting honestly. We can't assume that into the future. So.
Even going further, like all the deep fakes and all of the how do I validate that this video or this message is true? That again, you've got an identity. You can sign an event. You can prove
provenance at source.
Right? And that's it's going to be super powerful. Like going forward, like I attest to this being true.
Maybe don't don't sign your dick pics cryptographically, just in case. So you might want a deep fake.
It's alright, I never signed them anyway. So.
It's literally, by sign them, you mean I print them out on A4 and I
autograph them.
I just Sharpie them. Bring me my Sharpie, I have the fans.
It's sort of funny about that
But and I think we're going to need these things, like, especially like when you. So again, like when we're doing with the SuperBased NIP98 integration, it's a kind of like my ID will come in and sign you an authorization to your MPub for this, and then when you present that token, you don't just present the token, because you could steal that token from somebody else. And not that it ever really exists anywhere that you could, but you have to then sign that token and present it. So that now I can tell that, like, not only is that we've got the provenance of Pete said this person can access this database, and I know that this person is the person accessing this database because they're signing their request. So all of a sudden you have this
like auditability,
really,
right?
and it's perfect. It's like this is how these things were supposed to be. We just couldn't get keys into everybody's hands. That's where shitposting on Nostr gave a bunch of people keys to bootstrap something, and then we can bring people into that environment and say, look, even if you don't want to shitpost on Nostr, worth having this, because this is going to unlock all of your data going forwards. Like, you can onboard people before they're even in your organization. Like the limits of like, it's like you say in Dropbox. I was thinking like, Dropbox sharing, you would like share to somebody's email, but often people would share to my email that they know, not the one that I'm in Dropbox with, and they're different people in Dropbox. It's
and then you end up with like shared emails, like organizations and stuff. And
so now I've got 5 Dropboxes for all these different things, and like. It's a horrible experience. Where if I know that it's you, because you're in my web of trust and we've like checked each other out, I know that that's your ID. Then I can literal magic. Like this is what I was banging on about Nostr. Like shit, I can just, I can log into this app and I can just say this is my ID, and it can go and fetch some app data, and from there we can spawn like a whole app out of nowhere.
What's going to be what do you think the killer app is going to be that sort of puts the keys in everyone's hands, like the Normies' hands?
I really like the welcome app that we've done. What I was saying to Andy the other day.
That's nice, but what? Good on you. But why are people going to have?
Oh, why do they go and get?
Why do they get
not how do you manage it?
What is going to be like the end? Like
it's probably SuperBased.
Dumpling Town. People don't want their games. I don't know. Like, what is the? Why are they going to have to do that?
I think they're all going to be individual sort of apps. I think it's going to make. So, what I talked about a moment ago with the way that SuperBased would do the shared encryption is how you could plug any agent into your database on the back end. Like, it makes it almost. I don't need to know your agent. Your user just needs to say, "I will share to this person." This agent can now. I've got fine-grained control over what this agent can see. Like, and you could do that to something that's running on your computer in your home. You could do this to something that's running in the cloud. Like, it's that level of like permissions for agents. I think will be huge. So I mean, we talked about this in like, we should get like a PS5 and turn it into a SuperBased box. And it runs your home data, and it has your graphs, it has some local models. It has
why PS5?
Well, just because you've got proper, it's something like what I was thinking is something with good GPUs.
Yeah.
Like it's so like what's something you could buy that has a good GPU? So it'd be like a Mac Studio, might be the other one, but maybe it's a bit slow. But you have some local models, some stuff that you can do. You've got your databases, you've got your local graphs, and and you can just connect to your thing from anywhere. And then you can also have versions in the cloud, and you can sync them up. This is like, it's what if the internet didn't treat you like a prick?
Yeah.
Like what if the internet respected you as a person and actually made you stuff that was, you first?
There is
like I think we rebuild the whole fucking thing.
I agree entirely. There is one uncomfortable truth that we're not really addressing here, and that is that there are, like, when we talk about normies, right? I think like that's just a broad diaspora.
I would never use that word.
You've used it about a dozen times already on this podcast.
Yeah, but apart from that, is that me? Did I sign that?
But like there are it's not an inconsequential number of people who actually trust Microsoft and Google because they're institutions, and so it's like, how do you win those hearts and minds where like they've got now, a couple of decades worth of just going, I trust Google to do the right thing. I trust Microsoft to do the right thing.
So I think the only way you can play that battle is that you don't appeal to those people. You appeal to the people that care about privacy and the sovereignty aspects of this, that don't want their data to be stolen.
I agree.
That's my underlying
and
point.
then you kind of just
care.
but then you just let everybody else have their data stolen over and over again until
it's
they
a
care.
convenience. Like, people don't even think about these things generally, right? So it has to be that people there's like what is the ChatGPT that gets from like 0 daily active users to like 100 million in like a week? What is that puts all the keys in everyone's hands?
So I think I think it's hacking and losing your data over and over again. Like, I think this is it. There's two worlds. You just say, like, look, there's one world.
People are
and
just becoming apathetic.
this is
going to
get very convenient because people are going to put millions of dollars into it. 'Cause it's worth it to steal all of your data from you and sell it to people. And then there's going to be a second world where it's like none of that happens.
All right, devil's advocate.
Let me finish, right? But it's going to be just as convenient. So there'll be two just as convenient things. And one of them comes in a way that you can't have all of your data stolen. And then the group of people over here is just going to grow because they're going to be like, look, I'm sick of having all my data stolen. It's like people not putting their kids' pictures on the internet. You're right. They say, look, my pictures are fucking everywhere on the internet. You know what? I want to not put my kids' pictures on their internet. And then the kids' stuff goes into SuperBased world because Nostr world. So I shouldn't try and claim everything. I'm just like, I've got an idea for one little part of it.
You've got an island.
Right? And I think people will just move to this world because they'll be like, you know what? It's not harder to be in this world. I have seamless logins everywhere. I have this like one app of which there could be like 100 different versions of this thing that lets me log in wherever I want. It signs everything. I never see login screens again. Like, all of my data is safe. Like, it's just a different way that people have built it. I've got equivalents to any app over here. They all work seamlessly with each other. I don't have 50 different logins like I do in left-hand world for all the users visually looking at this and on the audio. I think it'll be slightly better UX over here. It won't be enough to get people over until they go, you know what, I'm sick of all of my stuff being stolen constantly, which it will, because people this is going to be vibe coded, but with cryptographic primitives that make it safe. This one's going to be vibe coded without that and relying on Google. They hack you. The free program is they have already stolen all of your data. They've already hacked you and stolen your data.
I think I think that's right. I think that's right long term. But I think to Anthony's point as well, it's like there almost needs to be a network effect driving this, because like I use companies as an example because I think companies are like, they're not apathetic about this. They're making a conscious decision to trust their data to big tech, right? And because they look at that as an insurance policy, they're like, we trust the institution to do the right thing for us, and we're going to write a bunch of policies that will basically run foul to that intent, but that's okay. We're still just covering ourselves. But that is like a strategic decision. They're actively making that choice. But like the network effect there is like absent, because what they're going to do is they're going to get hacked repeatedly, but they're going to go back to the same IT providers who are going to then go and like basically instantiate the same thing.
So I think the thing that moves people is going to be the agents. It's going to be very hard to have like an agent with an ID that you can integrate into every one of these platforms. It's going to be way easier in this secondary world where we've got, again, these cryptographic primitives and say, like, this agent has this npub, and I can just use it in any system that I need to from day one. That will be significantly easier and controllable in a way that if you give because the problem is you give these things agency in your system and they just have everything. It's like all the Claudebot stuff that's coming up at the moment. It's like, it's cool. Like, I do a similar thing with Wingman, but it's on a computer that I've segregated it to, like, for this reason, is that as soon as you do it, you go, oh wow, this is powerful. Then you go, oh shit, like this thing is me.
It's super powerful, but that's why I think it's very important to have like a private AI provider like Maple. But then also you need to liberate your data that's from those other systems in the first place, so that you can have like a protected surface. Like, everything is sovereign to you.
But I think it'll come down to that sort of permission structure. Like, it's going to be npubs, it's going to be nip90. You're not going to see any of this. Like, I know it sounds like it's harder.
Well, you're going to see QR codes or something?
No, you don't even need to. Like, because I already know who you are with your key, right? So
you log into a new app.
No, you'll see, give this person permission, and it'll go to your followers. You'll follow all your favorite agents, and you just say, give this agent permission. That's it. And it can go directly to the API after that. You don't have to write anything new. Anything that's available. You say like, oh, I'll give him access. Maybe you have some permissions around how you generate the token, the NIP98. So you can say like, this guy can just read. Can't post anything to this one. This guy can read from just this group of tables or whatever. That you can handle all in the. That's all just client-side code though for that thing. Easy. Seamless integration with agents into any app.
Well, I've noticed that
It's
even
kind of
on
nuts.
even on Nostr, there's like a lot of early adopters of vibe coding stuff. But more recently with, I guess, Opus 4.5 or something, there's way more like JB55 and stuff are like, holy shit. A lot of people are having light bulb moments like, oh, this is like now super powerful. And those guys are like steeped in Nostr. They've been building with these primitives for ages. So I think we're going to see some great things come out of the Nostr world and the public-private key cryptography space.
But it's also like a network effect that constantly reinforces. Like anything that comes into the Nostr world is available to everything else in the Nostr world.
Yeah.
So we build on these common standards, and it gains a network effect over time as a whole.
I think
whereas like Google has to do one thing over here, and then it's going to actually get competed against via Facebook and Microsoft and everybody. They don't work together nicely, and they never will. They can't. It's like we said with the Trello and Miro stuff today. It's like Trello can do a Kanban board, Miro can do a whiteboard. Miro has a crap Kanban board, and they can't integrate with Trello natively, and Trello will probably do a shit whiteboard, but because they can't focus on the other things. But you end up, well, why have I got two different systems here that I each pay like $100 a month to, and neither of them talk to each other? And like, oh, that's.
And the only way it like gets better for you is like if Atlassian buys Miro, and then like or then it'll still be shit.
Well, then it becomes. I was going to say. Then they integrate all the Atlassian stuff, and it becomes shit.
Yeah.
Like, that's but this is like the problem with SaaS companies is they need to be like, what's the 50% of stuff that is going to make this seem useful without solving 50% of your problem that you're just going to keep doing in a notebook? Otherwise, it's a thing with a pen and paper because it's flexible. Like it's. I think there's going to be a real network effect around the Nostr stuff. I think it's going to be huge.
I think it's more about the emergence of it. I guess my point is more about like where does this stuff emerge natively, and I think actually it's like instead of thinking about it as like you get this like schism that exists. Like again, just thinking about it in terms of companies because they are just so embedded in these decisions. I think like anything, you get a new wave of companies that just adopt this or embrace this as like a native part of who they are.
Yeah.
And then those companies grow over time, over a decade of 20 years, and those older companies just die out naturally, which is like a natural order of things. This happens anyway.
Well, it's like the AI native company needs like, you need AI Active Directory, for lack of a better term, right? It's like, can you put AIs in your Active Directory? How does it work? Like, how do they does that work with all the apps or just the Microsoft apps? Like, it's
exactly.
It's like, so instead of that, you just say, all right, well, maybe we build our ID layer in Nostr, and then now everybody in the company has a Nostr ID. Everybody has native encryption to their stuff. We've got various schemes for how we can share stuff. Like we can use MLS if we need to. So that gets better and better, and we have native backups of encrypted records. Like we just get all this stuff for free. Yeah. It's like, maybe we just do that.
But this feels like
gets better over time when people other stuff come along. We say, look, we're building it this way because
there's a better one.
I don't want to be responsible for all your data getting hacked, and the easiest way to do that is to never be responsible for your data.
Yeah.
And they go, oh, is that something that we can do? It's like, yeah, I mean, ideally I would steal all your data and sell it because that's what makes me lots of money, but unfortunately I'm a moral person, so I can't. So I'm going to have to do this instead. I'm sorry about that. Like, it'll sound complicated if you ask me to explain it, but so would the intricacies of like Google and Microsoft if you had to explain it to everybody.
That's another benefit.
The way it will present to you is a username and password, and then everything fucking works.
Alright, so I'm not going to ask you this question because you know a lot of people that use Nostr. I don't know how many people you know that use Nostr, like your
I'd say almost none.
friends.
Oh yeah.
How would you introduce them to like Nostr, or not Nostr, but this idea of keys? Like, what do you? Are you going to approach your friends at some point and be like, "Hey, like guys, you should check this thing out"?
I don't think you do. That's why I was talking about UX. I just don't think you do. Like, I mean, the other side of this, right, is like people still use Google Authenticator. It's a pain in the ass. People still use it, right? So, I think ultimately though, it just comes down to how like seamless is the experience for people. Like if there's any kind of like complexity hurdle, like they're just not going to do it. I've talked about this a dozen times on this podcast. Like, the thing that got me into Nostr wasn't ID or keys; it was payments,
Zaps.
and that's me. Yeah,
Zaps were.
That's
you receive your first zap or something. You're
and,
like, fuck,
and
this
maybe
is awesome.
maybe that is like a banking bias that I've had from working in the past, like coming from that like kind of corporate environment in banking where everything is gated. To oh shit, I can just send money to someone and I don't need their permission. Like that to me was like the most incredible thing ever. Like less about the keys. So yeah, I don't know how do you get this stuff across to people? I almost think like you don't try and sell it.
Yep.
You just build seamless experiences, and I think like what Pete's describing is like a way more like natural adoption curve than it. Like I think the conversion part is where the difficulty lies. If you need to walk into an existing business of any decent scale and say, hey, like the way you're doing this is wrong, maybe you should try this way. I think that's where all the complexity lies. Whereas if you just encourage new and emerging businesses, and by emerging I just mean like they're relatively small in scale. Like that's where your opportunity lies for this like wave of adoption to kick off. So yeah, I would just avoid like all of the complexity around it and just focus on building really good experiences.
And so like if you want to have this agent that runs natively in your own machine in your world and you can just give it access to any of these databases with no friction, then this is kind of the level of stuff that you would need to do that.
It's kind of like a similar approach, like tactically, to what we do with getting people into AI as well, if you think about it. It's like, do we come in and try and tell you all of the theory about how this stuff works and what it is? Like, no, just start building. Start using it, get your hands dirty. And then all of a sudden, it will just open up a world of possibility for you. That is just a really cool, seamless experience for people. Whereas before, like, that was a very, like, gated, closed environment that was only available to a very small number of people who understood how to code.
And that's why you're coding, because most people think they can't do it. Because, you could probably try playing a guitar and it could help you, but it wouldn't be the same.
Yeah.
It'd be a bit chaotic in the room. But, yeah, I do agree, though. Like, it's not about... You want the person to have the key. You don't necessarily need them to know that they've got the key. That's why we did the password logins for the welcome site. It's...
My question is like kind of that 0 to 1. How do you get the key? And then once the key's there, I think you're sweet, right?
And then you just allow them. There's interesting. Like one of our like sort of leaders in this process of like coming along to our staff and working with us for a while. Like his first question when he logged in with the welcome thing was like, "Oh, how do I export this key then?" So I've got a copy of it. It's like, click here and you can export, and it'll export. You can take the raw version if you're sort of sure you want that, or you can export to this encrypted version that you can decrypt using this stuff. It's like, okay, cool. Like that's like you just make it so you don't lock people in. I know there's a set of precepts that GG, friend of the pod, had done at a software engineering drink.
Yep.
Which is all about can you rug like it's like how do you be an ethical company? It's like, well, can you rug your users? Like, can your users rug you? Like, are you rugging yourself? Are you spying on all of their information? And like, if you can, or not spying on all this information, or can you not spy on? And like, if you can answer yes, it's like, okay, these are the things that you need to be an ethical company.
Yeah.
It's like you shouldn't steal all your users' information. That's unethical. I think it's terrible that we normalise that that's a thing.
I don't even think you should see your users' information, like unless it's a real like valid use case, like, and you should only see what you need to. But obviously
But it does make it makes everything just that little bit harder at the start.
Absolutely.
But then once you've got the standards bedded in and these little,
I think we're in that sort of like the grow up phase now. I think that a lot of the complexities being knocked out, and like the work you're doing is great for sort of like flattening that curve. And I think that there's going to be an explosion of just shit that works together.
Yes. I really like that in Orlando when you come in and you're trying to track your data and it just says like, do you want it encrypted? Or you click the encrypted flag to make it unencrypted data and it just says no! Like, I don't want to see your data. Like, stop it. Don't touch that again. But there's no need. Like, if I've got a key, I should never have to see your data. Like, I think we should just build stuff that treats people fairly.
Yep.
Instead of just stealing everything from them. Like, I don't know, like maybe I'm crazy.
No, 100%.
Privacy first internet.
I also think that's kind of nice framing for stuff where you then go like, if someone keeps bitching about like the fact you're using Nostr, it's like, oh, why do you need to steal everybody's data and spy on everything in your database? Like, what's wrong with you? Are you looking under the toilet door as well? Can I go to the toilet over here, or are you going to be You're gonna be staring at me from this stall next door. What's going on?
But it's the whole like if you stop and pause, if you, at any point you need to stop and pause and say, should I be sharing this? Is this appropriate? What is the repercussions of this? As soon as that thought creeps into your head, you've lost. You've kind of lost, right? You're not free thinking anymore.
Yeah.
And so that's constantly what you're having to do with all these other systems. Should I share this? Like, what are the implications if I share this?
Yeah.
You don't want to have. You want to be able to think unfiltered and share your thoughts, like without worrying about these things, right?
Yeah.
I think that's freedom of thought is very important. Like, we need to get more systems that allow you to do that. Think freely.
I think a big thing for me recently was like doing the local first apps in the browser. So using like DexC as an API around IndexedDB so that I had local state for everything first and then just synced periodically back to the backends. So even on like some of our own internal stuff where we just run the backend, like I actually just keep like a full state like inside the browser available, so that if you go offline you're still there and you can make updates and it'll just sync as you come back on. And I was like, as soon as I hit that I was like, oh shit, that's pretty good, and everything in there is encrypted, so I can just sync the encrypted model of this, and then that's like it's going to be very powerful for just apps that respect you, which is what we should make.
Absolutely.
And then because you own the key, we can make it so that you can just, I can connect to it from this app, I can connect to it from my backup app, and my backup app just backs up everything that I've got. So I can pay for that service with the sync while I use it. As soon as I don't want to use it, I just run my own.
Yep.
And I've already got all the data, so I can just go and pull it out. I just capture it as I go. Like, it's going to be, I think it's going to be super smooth. It just needs to be built and then tested, and then it needs to survive contact with users, and then it gets slightly better, like after contact with users. But I think the beauty of it is you can make it seamless.
Building apps that respect you would be a nice title for today's episode.
Could be. Is it better than
Claude's.
ass?
That's true. We didn't get that. Was a pre-show. We didn't get into it.
Pre-show.
Yeah. It will get us a whole heap of new listeners.
Yeah,
probably,
exactly. That's why we got to move it to the back of the thing as opposed to K-pop Demon Hunters and other popular things.
Yeah.
Popular things. AI vibe coding.
We are huge in Korea after this episode. No doubt.
There's an irony in all this. Like we're like unlocking a lot of these capabilities and tools with feeding the hive mind, Claude and ChatGPT with all of this information. Not necessarily our life story and all of that private information, but like we're.
I mean, I'm okay with it for the building stuff
I think
because it's
I am
all
as
open
well.
source software.
Right.
So I'm like,
I think
you're going to steal it on the back end.
Otherwise,
anyway.
I wouldn't be doing it. Yeah,
So it's just like, but I wouldn't use it for private stuff. Or if I was doing, there might be certain things I might want to code that I would do on local models if need be. But like this, everything I'm doing is then just shared openly anyway. So it's like, well, it doesn't matter. May as well go and use the thing that's quick.
Yeah, I mean, my concern is that like at consumer level, people are just not even thinking about this. I mean, how many millions of people must be using ChatGPT's like health? I've not even really taken a good look.
Well, now they've like building like specific products for health, for both Anthropic and OpenAI.
Exactly.
It's like the thing they had around. I don't know how real it was, but there was the discussion of how they're going to steal everybody's ideas or claim like X percentage of whatever you build on OpenAI. I don't know if that's opt-in or not. That's just like,
yeah, it's crazy.
Come on, guys. Yeah. You're going to have X percentage of like open source software. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I mean, yeah.
There's going to be ever more extracted versions.
I mean, stuff like that's existed in other ways before, right? I mean, haven't like essentially like university or college endowment funds operated like this in the past, where like if you build something
like accelerators, right? They take like a large chunk of your business up front.
But it's implied if you're a student here and you build something and you commercialize it, you've got to
give us a few mil, build a new building. We'll give you your name on it.
There's something there, right? So yeah, that's crazy. Like, how do you opt into something like that? You just, But especially with health data. But you do also get, like, another class of people who are just like, I just need to understand this because there is no alternative. You know, the health system doesn't really have any good tracking of this. I already trust my data to centralized data warehouses that the government has access to in my data records. Like, you know, I think a lot of people will just be like, don't care.
I think it's like you can get great utility out of ChatGPT and these like non-private sort of hoovering up all your data tools, but you also want like the private models or the self-hosted stuff. So for example, I heavily use Claude and primarily Claude Code, but then I've got like Maple, which has like the large models, like the secure enclaves. So I get like the leading edge open source models, the big models. I can use those. And then I've also got like the private like self-hosted stuff, which I'm actually very rarely using nowadays. But at some point before Maple, that's what I was using. And so I think that you need, at the moment you need both. Like you get the best bang for buck for having both. Ideally it would be totally private sometime in the future, but at least we have the option. People have the option now. There's not just like the ChatGPT and that's it. You have optionality. I'm super optimistic about the future. Like, I've never been more like anxious. Things are moving, like anxious in a good way. Things are moving so fast. Like,
it is nuts.
It's like, fuck, this is so incredibly like, just. I feel like in the past when I've had ideas to build things, I need to. This is an unfamiliar tech I'm building with, so you start to learn the tech, and then you like get a few weeks, and you're like, "Fuck! Well, I've just spent the last 3 weeks learning how to use React, and now I haven't actually built my tool, and I've lost like motivation, so it's gone." And then you go through like a trough of disillusionment or something. I feel like now, at least, I can probably have a sustained manic period where I'm just like building, and you can kind of just non-stop
sustained manic period is also a great.
I feel like that's
a great description.
What can be unlocked now? You can have sustained high productivity periods, like manic periods, right?
It's so addictive as well.
Absolutely.
I really think this is like it meets like all the criteria you would need for like a flow state activity of just like you're absolutely like locked into something. You're working on something that's slightly outside of your comfort zone. And that's why you're using the agents to do it. But you're also making like rapid incremental process, and you don't hit these roadblocks. And you're just like, this is just, it's so rewarding as like a human to plug yourself into that. With the downside being that it's so fucking confusing.
Like
you plug yourself into it 10 times.
I think in South Korea there's like there are people that like the broadcasting and live shows of trading derivatives and trading like perps and stuff. Like, there's going to be like live big audience of like vibe coding, like, or like these other building.
I saw Justin was vibe like.
I dropped in on that. I saw that the other day.
I dropped in at the start. It was a bit boring at the start. I don't know if it got better. I saw he picked up like $200 for it or something like that.
Yeah, like there was some big Odell and stuff. I think dropped some Bitcoin. Oh, Marty. Yeah, Marty was profiting some Bitcoin. Yeah.
Came up on the dashboard wherever he's at.
That's it.
Yeah, no, it's it's good.
It's weird.
I'm a fan.
Fucking weird.
Big fan.
Yeah.
10 out of 10 would recommend.
So what are you? How far along are you with your family app at the moment?
I'll show you after this. Like I've been doing it for maybe 5 days. It's good. I'm starting to put heaps of data in. I have no encryption on the back end, so that's why I was like, how do I? Let's just build the features first, so I can actually start to use it. It's only for me. Like, I'm running it like on my own computer, so whatever. And then I want to get my wife involved, so we can ditch Google Calendar and all this shit, like, and start to use that like, as a family, test like the sharing and stuff. Like initially it was just for me, but then I was like, I have a particular friend I reckon that could like use this, and so like maybe then I'll look to put it on somewhere, but I don't want to see his data ever. Like, I don't want to touch it.
Yeah.
But I want him to potentially pay me a small subscription, like, and then I'll like just run the server for him, and he just gets to use it. If he wants a new feature, I'll just build it. Like, whatever, fuck it. And I feel like because everything's siloed, people have all these different apps for different things. I feel like one place where you can have like kind of like your digital life, and then you can get agents to come in and do particular aspects for you, like use Maple. To me, that like just that would work for me. Like, I feel like it would work for a lot of people. I don't know how much people spend in their lives like Google Calendar and the like, or like reminders in Apple Notes, whatever, things like that. But I think more like consolidation. You can get a lot more unlock if everything's in a single place, and it's given like you give an agent permission to all this stuff, like private agent. So I don't think I'm going to focus full time on this, but I'm going to build it for my own uses. Like, and then I'm just going to probably just release it when I'm happy with like the data model. Just put it on GitHub and then just let it live there. If someone wants to run with it and roll, yeah.
Nice.
It's just personal software. Build something that
Yeah.
you want. You've got all these bugbears, all those software like. Fuck, OmniFocus was good, but I could never share tasks. I just don't like to share. Like, a particular subset of tasks, you just couldn't do it.
Yeah, something that you and your wife both need to do.
Exactly.
Like, it's just like whoever does, someone needs to pick up the kids.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they cry. No, it's interesting because I took the marginal gains app that we built, like the Discord social sort of app, and I have a version that runs inside the house, which is for the family.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, I don't want to put my kids onto WhatsApp. But it would also be nice if they could text their grandparent. So, all right, okay, well, here's a fully locked down version where this is for sharing photos, this channel's sharing photos, this channel's for chat, they can DM each other, and then I was like, that's kind of weird, I don't know now, my daughter's like DMing her mum while she was away, and I was like, oh, shit, that's kind of weird, I don't know what they're DMing about.
But let's be real, most people aren't going to have like servers in their own home and things like that, so it needs to be hosted, but it needs to be hosted so no one can
say server to Mac Mini.
Yeah.
You can have an always on. A Mac Mini is a very good always on.
I'm thinking about getting one
server.
actually.
Yeah.
I'm actually from you talking about it. I've got the tab open. I'm ready to order.
But if you want, and you do something like SovThing as well. I mean, if you want to run local models, you probably want the studio. But if you have local GPUs, you've already got GPUs anyway.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, make them available. I can use them. But you
want some GPUs?
But it would give you, for something like SovThing, you use that as like a source for your SovThing files, and then you've got those files available on every device that you can airdrop to them or buy Nostr. Bish bash bosh.
It is funny seeing things
whole,
like Claudebot just take over the kind of the discussion at the moment. It's like everyone's talking about Claudebot, and we've been talking about like AI living on a Mac Mini for nearly a year, right? It's been a while.
It's maybe not quite, but
maybe
it's
not that yet. Yeah.
Maybe 9 months or so.
We're 9 months in. I feel like it was really early in the pod.
Yeah.
We started talking about how you need to just give AI its own machine, and you can run these things locally. And
and then Wingman.
Yeah.
And then, so I don't think there's much because really he's leaning into the idea of Claude and skills. And so I was like, well, I mean, I can already do. I think everything that he's doing. I don't have WhatsApp gateways. So I don't really want to talk to it in WhatsApp. I've already got. Yeah. I just press the Wingman button and it pops up the app. So to me, that's better for me. But again, like it's each to their own.
True. Very good.
Yeah.
I think we're up to an hour and a half. Solid.
Wow. I didn't even have to
refer
to my 10 pages
No notes.
10 pages of notes.
I'll bring 4 next time.
For the next one.
We'll bring it for the next one in about a month's time. Reappearing guest, repeat
guest,
guest,
happy to have me back,
friend of the pod.
Sign some pictures for you as we discussed earlier.
And that's the good stuff.